Good morning. Happy Monday. Hello, Ted.
Hey. How are you?
I'm good. Well, am I allowed to say that now? Are you going to ask me a follow-up?
After last episode, yeah, I'll let you slide. It's funny you say that because it's important to note. I mean, that always comes up when I use that as an example. And
Oh, yeah.
It's not about slowing everybody down. Good. It's about picking your spots. And the main point last week was most people don't even pick their spots. They just go,
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And anyway.
Well, I am good because I am happy to talk to you and to bring this message across. So, I think a lot of times, if anybody has joined AWAI in any sort of fashion, they've come through a promotion that has probably painted a picture of a certain lifestyle or a certain freedom. And everybody then loves and wants to have freedom as a writer. But I feel like you want them to drill down, to think about that a little bit more than just to latch onto freedom as a writer. So what comes up when we associate with freedom, or what should we be thinking about when we think about freedom?
Yeah, to be completely honest with you, we talk about freedom and often, not AWAI necessarily, but just other companies or other people, other coaches, they paint this very luxurious picture of freedom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like somebody sitting on a beach.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Well, it's funny you said that. It was literally the cover of one of our main books.
Yeah, and it kind of paints this picture of this luxurious piece. And I don't know if it rubs me wrong, but I don't think that's what freedom means, right? Freedom is from my lens, it's a very individualistic thing. It's not like this cookie cutter, like make limitless money, spend the time the way you want to. One, I don't even know if that's achievable for most. And two, it doesn't mean anything to me.
Mm-hmm.
And, so I remember very specifically, setting out on this journey, and there was very specific things that Angel and I, my wife, talked about as it relates to this idea of freedom, right? And so you need to think about, if you're on with us today, I'd like you to take this very loose word freedom and define it for yourself, because I really do think it's an individualistic thing, which then you will find fulfillment. Freedom for me is not laying on a beach and not worrying about anybody calling me because I know my bank account's full, right? Mm-hmm. But I'll give you, and these are real examples, what I meant by freedom. Mm-hmm. And we still talk about it today. Ironically, about 3 months ago, we had to do it, unfortunately. But 12, 13 years ago, sitting in our townhouse, I remember saying to Angel, I just want the feeling of, if the washer machine broke, we would just go on with our day and call the technician over, or if we needed to buy a new one, we'd buy a new one, and it didn't hit our mental space or whatever. Mm-hmm. That was related to our finance, because the average household, you do your research. The average household can't afford to just pull money from an account and get something like that done. And so I remember saying, freedom, mental freedom, would be refrigerator breaks, and I just, hey, I'm in a meeting, and I just say to Angel, just call the guy over, and if we need a new one, order it. Mm-hmm. Done and done. No stress, no conversations around dinner. That was very specific. You've heard me say on here before, I wanted to be at the bus stop for my boys, right? That was freedom for me. To have the flexibility, replace the word freedom with flexibility. Well, where do you need flexibility in your life? And so you really need to figure out what freedom is, because we've talked about this on past episodes too. Otherwise, you're just playing into the game. You're just playing into you're not really creating your own definition of freedom. You're just playing into what society has said, or your neighbors has said, or what the cover of the book said, or whatever it means. And freedom is a very individualistic thing. It just is. So I just want to take the luxurious or whatever out, and just that would be the main message around this.
And it's even makes it more attainable, even though when you desire it, it seems unattainable, right? I'm sure when you're sitting in the townhouse, that did not seem attainable then, but you got there, right? It's so funny because I actually forgot about this, and you talking reminded me. I used to say to my husband, my goal was to be able to go to Whole Foods whenever I wanted and not worry about the amount that I was spending on groceries.
It's very similar.
Right?
Very simple. Well, here's the thing, let's start connecting some of the stuff we've talked about. That's still the same. I said, ironically, like we literally had to get a new washer dryer like 3-4 months ago. And guess what? We drove to Lowe's, which is our local department store, and we ordered really nice washer and dryer. And then we came home and we went on with our day with our boys. There was no hiccup. There was no, I got to shift money around. There was none of that. And so,
no stress.
But here's what I want to say. We brought that up that day, Angel and I. Like, so the freedom, our definition of freedom never changed. Now I'm going to bring in something that we talked about on other things. Vision. The last pillar of my vision were belly laughs and dreams. We've secured freedom. The other stuff's belly laughs and dreams coming true. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden freedom took on a different meaning for me. Keep the main thing the main thing. Like, freedom is still being able to, because there was something else. Like, my boys, and this is my boys' lunch accounts in their school will always have money in them.
Yeah.
They will never go into line and not be able to get school lunch. Like, I get emotional thinking about it because I remember getting in line and not having. So freedom for me is that, you know what I mean? And so there's
100%.
just, and it doesn't mean that when I buy my kids a Xbox, that's now a new level of freedom. No. It's still baseline that we do this, and this other stuff is just part of that belly laughs and dreams pillar of vision. But I just want people, like, I don't know what to call it, like freedom creep. Like, I want you to really slow down and define what freedom would mean for you. Time, financial, and all the rest of it. And don't let it creep.
What it also does when you do it for yourself, Ted, I think it sets you up for success. Because I think of an example of a very well-known expert in our field, and she started out as an AWAI member. And, you know, a lot of what we talk about and what is discussed when a copywriter is successful is 6 figures, right? And for for 2 years or 3 years of having clients, she felt unsuccessful because she was not making 6 figures. And then she realized, hang on, like, my dream and desire of what freedom is to be able to homeschool my children and go on vacation once a week to the beach with my kids without stress or worry about finances, right?
There you go.
As soon as she pivoted that, she, in her own eyes, doesn't matter about anybody else, was successful, right? She was reaching those goals and achieving those things that made her feel successful. So I think right next to pivoting your freedom to be your own and to be individualized, it'll help you set up your success for what you should, because again, success should not be determined by anybody but yourself, right? It doesn't matter what society says again. So I think those two things go hand in hand and just make for you feeling better, you know, like I'm sure when you got the wash and dryer, you felt some sense of fulfillment because you were able to do that.
I could do it.
About, right?
Got it done. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so for today, it's
simple. Put pen to paper. Define for what freedom would mean in real terms. The reason I use examples because that's where I want people to go. I don't want some loosey-goosey definition of freedom. I can do what I want to do, whatever I want to do it. That's not freedom to me.
Yeah. And what is that even? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? When do you?
So be specific.
I think we need to start selling Monday Morning Jumpstart notebooks, Ted. We're
asking a lot of pen to paper.
Yeah, a lot of pen to paper. All righty, folks. Well, next time we're going to talk about, are you trying to be helpful or are you trying to be right? And different ways to approach this with clients. So we will see you then. Thank you, Ted.